Go.
Okay, I'm calling to order the Clatsop County Comprehensive Plan Update meeting of the Lewis and Clark Olney Woluski Planning Area Citizens Advisory Committee on this August 22nd day of 2019, plus or minus 5 o'clock. First item on the agenda is the Goal 1 background report, which is going to be provided by the staff.
Okay, I'd like to take a roll really fast first.
You'd like to do that?
I would. We are August 22nd. So, Jim Coughlin, Michael Magyar,
I'm here.
Andrea Mazzarella,
I'm here.
James Nikas.
I'm here.
Okay, Paula Bew is running a little bit late. Dr. Frank Mansfield is not present.
Frank wasn't here last time.
So typically the 3 strikes and you're out roll.
Do we have to do something else, like a Pledge of Allegiance?
No,
We don't have to do anything like that.
no, you don't
Somebody
need
want
to
to
do
sing the
anything.
Star Spangled Banner?
Can we just play the Jimi Hendrix version from Woodstock? 'Cause that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's maybe my favorite one now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so a little bit of background, staff report. So this has to do with Goal 1, citizen involvement, and how do we reach people, and it is the primary element, the first thing that we consider with land use. So we have a little bit of a background report. It provides the history, and I'm pretty sure you all looked at Gail's handy-dandy little part at the beginning that talks about Clatsop Vision 2030 and planning for the future of citizen involvement. The lack of diversity in the county that is still like 90% white. Hispanic and Latino, 7.7%, and then smaller groups after that. So one of the things that we've been talking about, let's see, you've got Goal 1, the statewide version in there, and of course it talks about the importance of citizen involvement, and we talk about the mechanisms that we have for Goal 1, which include our requirements for notifications, but it isn't just notifying neighbors that somebody's going to do a conditional use permit or that somebody's going to put in a subdivision or something like that. It's how do we get people more involved in land use? And so we've got some things along the way, that policies, and I think you have your handy-dandy worksheet there at the end, which actually has, I keep hoping, no? Okay, which actually has the policies excerpted out. And so we were hoping was people could just use the worksheet as kind of a, just that, as a worksheet, as a place to put your notes and your ideas and your thoughts. And then also we wanted to take a look at just the discussion items, which are on your agenda. So that's something for you guys to discuss, maybe as you go through and look at what the policies are. I'm just looking at it thinking what the idea is. I suppose the fact that we have these different groups, that all the different groups have their own planning area. This one is related to this area, which is more farm and agriculture. It's got the city of Astoria in it, but it's really more of a farm ag with the rivers running through it. Each of the different planning areas has its own unique personality. So this one's pretty agrarian, honestly, with a bunch of timber in the background. So there are different perspectives throughout that. And so we were looking at how do we reach everybody. And so I've heard some of the discussions at some of the other CACs, and people talked about, the internet, and then, we don't have very good service. That came up a couple of places. And how do people interact with their planning department, and how do people find out information about what's happening in their community, and how do they get to their citizen planners, the planning commissioners? But that is actually a big goal, is that we have that back and forth communication. And it was so important that it is primary goal. It's goal 1. So, I mean, I'm not going to go through your whole packet here. You've taken a look at it. Do you have questions before you get started, or do you want, because I'm not going to take a lot of time here. I mean, the question about why should the public be involved in planning, well, it's your community. It's our community. I mean, I live here too. I don't live in this one. I live in that one over there, but it's our county. So how do we get involved, and how should we be reaching out and getting to people? So anyway, I'm going to actually suggest, after that very brief intro, that you take a look at the goals and the policies and what we are supposed to be doing, which is back here on this worksheet, and then have your discussion maybe around this agenda and the questions that are here. But really, I think a lot of that is the committee.
Right. Well, I thought about, so we went to Jim and I both went to the fuller meeting, when it looks like some of the other subcommittee groups had already gone over this question, like maybe they were one meeting ahead of us. And the conversation about like mailing out postcards instead of, I know that there's certain letters, like within, what it was, 150 feet, or something, someone applies for a thing, within 150 feet of your property you get a letter. But if there was, the question was if there was funding to do, because a lot of times people don't even open letters unless it's from like someone they know, you know what I mean, or a bill that they know they have to pay. So even just like a small, not the big, ridiculous, flashy wastes of postcards, but even just a small thing that just says like upcoming meeting really big on it or something that just goes out to everyone. I don't know if you can go countywide or how far. I think that's a good idea, because the other thing I know of is like MailChimp is an example of an online hub that sort of like you post, or even you can automate posts to that, and it will post to multiple social medias and like email out to all of your email. It just does all of it all at once, so you only have to press one button and it hits all of those different things. But I feel like a lot of people that don't have internet access, or you know, are in different age groups and demographics, maybe aren't even looking at Facebook, so it's not just like one, you know, I don't know if they check their emails, but I feel like something that shoots off, if you could simplify your own life by having it working an automated system. And I know MailChimp does some stuff like that completely for free, so you don't have to pay for it, you just have to set it up.
How much do you folks, any of you, how much do you interact with the county website?
I use it a ton for real
Every day.
estate stuff.
Every day. So, I mean, I don't know if everybody realizes, and I don't know if the community realizes how much information, including active applications, is available on the website. But again, I mean, part of our question was, how do we reach the people who, are there underserved communities? And I think
Right.
you mentioned like the elderly, or maybe the people who don't have internet, which that can be an overlap. The Venn diagram on that one's kind of got a lot of overlap.
Totally.
So it's like those underserved areas, and we've got the telecommunications thing if people want to check it, but can you recognize or identify communities besides the elderly that you just mentioned that are out here?
I have an idea.
Yeah.
So much of our involvement depends on people in the future benefiting from that, and getting as many young people involved as possible is a start. And I was thinking that there's maybe a way to gamify citizen involvement somehow, or have parents of children in schools participate somehow in the process through the children that come home with information. My wife's a teacher, and certainly this is a good opportunity to reach out to the Astoria School District, Seaside School District, whatever, Warrenton, and say, this is what the citizens are doing. How do you convey that to a second grade teacher so that they can then hand that information to their child and say, take this home, your child will get, it will be very well behaved, this evening if you come to our meeting. You know, we make some kind of outlandish promises that we can't keep, and they know it, but they might be interested because they think it's funny. But I think that I find that teachers seem to be very successful at communicating information to parents. Parents seem to be very engaged, mostly, when it comes to their kids. And it seems like there's a wealth of opportunity across the spectrum of K through 12. How we coordinate that might be a long-term thing. It might not hit this year before Christmas. It might hit next year, next fall. But at the very least, it's some kind of involvement that we can maybe, and these are all the youngest people with the children who may be staying in the community, and maybe it'll strike a nerve and they'll stay involved over time. That's what I thought.
Tori, not to put you on the spot, because I know you're here not in your work cap, but you have been working on a plan to coordinate with the school districts. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, Gail and I kind of at the same time had the idea of, we were trying to brainstorm something for Planning Month, which was a new thing the APA started, which is the American Planning Association. And just trying to get some public awareness surrounding what planning is. And I've done some work with Tryon Creek Park in Lake Oswego before, doing outreach with watershed education in middle schools. And I felt like that was really successful. So anyway, I had kind of thought about doing something like that with maybe like 6th or 7th graders. I thought that would be a really good age to get excited about it. And it's still in the very preliminary stages, but definitely scooping in the comp plan would be a good idea too. But it was more of a what is planning, why is it important sort of thing. But yeah, getting people involved in the comp plan update definitely would be good.
And we'll probably be taking out an ad in the Jules School newspaper that goes out, like I think quarterly or every couple months, and posting ads in there as well.
We could also reach out, and we're talking about getting anybody at this point. I mean, it's grand to have a big plan, but the low-hanging fruit to me are the scouts, right? They've got merit badges for citizenship in the community, citizenship in the nation, and citizenship in the world. If we coordinate with the merit badge counselors and give them opportunities to participate in the planning process, maybe those requirements could also, not only get the scouts involved in something practical, but might bring some of the parents in. And there might be an opportunity for one of the scouts to have maybe an Eagle Scout project or something like that through some kind of citizen involvement opportunity. And they're usually, I enjoyed my citizenship merit badges, and I never had an opportunity to even see anything like this happen, because maybe it wasn't happening at the time, or my parents didn't know, or nobody in the scout troop knew about it, so we just kind of went by the book. But there's typically honest involvement with that, and it's something. I don't know if what other groups there are that might have community involvement.
Well, the high schools do senior projects every year too, kind of.
Social studies teachers and that kind of thing, is that?
Oh, right, high
we do
schoolers
senior
are like
project.
forced to do a senior
Always
project,
trying
like
to
your
figure
thesis
out
from college.
what-
Let's
that
force
should
them
be-
to work for us.
Yeah,
And we can hand out
we should
flyers.
recruit, they're,
We
Usually-
could take a group of them.
I mean, what-
It doesn't just have to be.
Isn't that what they're there
Yeah.
for?
people are usually struggling to figure out what to do for that. 'cause
Yeah,
it's-
mine was
nobody-
BS.
Right.
I know mine was total BS. I don't even,
Okay.
but it's it could be cool. That would be
It's
senior
involvement.
project. Yeah.
It's just anybody getting an opportunity to get involved in planning. Unless you know a planner. My best friend in high school, growing up, ended up becoming a planner. He's now a principal planner for Marin County, And he introduced me to public transportation as a fun thing one day when I was maybe 14. And we took the bus, and then we took BART, and then we took a cable car, and then we took streetcars, and then we took a ferry, and then we, rode our bikes. And it was just this thing, and that became our fun, and it was gamified, and that's a positive. And he said, this is all planning. And I'm like, whatever, man.
You're
But-
a nerd.
Yeah, you're a weirdo. I mean, everyone else is trying to, but there might be some people who want to get involved in it, and it may stick, and it stuck with me for my whole life. And I'm not a planner, but I like hanging around with planners. And so I think that there's the short-term goal. I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Wait,
I didn't mean to air that kind of laundry out here.
what was the reason that we couldn't do the meetings at the Natal Grange?
They wanted $100, and there was also a daycare facility that we would be competing with time-wise.
Daycare was setting up their
During
facility
that.
today
Okay.
for the school year. And it
Okay.
would have been just,
Just because my parents live like across the street from there,
I know.
and they just went to some kind of a dinner, or like potluck dinner or something event there that I didn't even know about. Another thing that nobody knew about, and hardly anybody showed up, and they were sort of expressing concern that the Natal Grange is not doing well, like as an organization.
kind of down.
Yeah.
Dave
Shit,
Dave
if we
was
could-
not into it.
No.
No.
Really?
I talked to him yesterday even. He and my wife were both served on the Arts Council together, and his band played at my
Ambrose.
wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I know Dave.
Okay.
And we talked about it, and he's like, I don't know. There's like stuff going on, and and it's like, God, we're just, we don't take up much space. And he's like, okay,
I
well, it's
just feel like the more people are
$100.
using the space, the better for them. But if they don't want us, then
I didn't
fine.
want to pay $100.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, well, we budgeted 50 per meeting for venue, and Pacific Grange in Warrenton on 101, they charged us 50 for the first open house, but now they're charging us $30 a minute. Or
A minute.
A minute. Yeah.
Dang.
Sounds
Good
like,
deal.
sounds
They
like
got
the
you in.
planning department.
Well, I wonder if there's, I think I see a lot of people like my age and anywhere from like 35 to 55 a lot of times on Facebook getting heated into these Facebook arguments about why is the city letting this happen, or why is the county planning doing this thing, and just bitching about stuff, but they have no understanding of how the process works. And so I feel like just that bit, that education piece, I mean, it takes you being proactive enough to start going to meetings and asking questions and watching. I've watched for years just trying to figure out how these systems work. And
Very
you
complex.
make really great like infographic little sheet things. I wonder if there could be like a why planning matters, and like sort of like the basics of like all the things that people, not to say just the things people complain about, all the things people love, the best parts about us, and the things that people might want to, have a bitch about, like both of those things all went through a process to become what they are now, and like how to help people connect why it matters to get involved in these. Am I making sense
Yeah.
of what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
It sounds like a good senior project.
It does.
Yeah. Well, someone who wants to be a graphic artist.
Right. Or just, that public education piece, because they just want to show up at the last meeting on the last day and say, we don't like what you did.
How'd
It's
we
like,
get here? Well,
Well, could have been here.
So
2
we should be
years
like
ago.
doing blurbs of why it matters on the Facebook page.
Maybe, yeah, just to get people to understand what.
But then you all have to like us and share our
we
content.
get like one like a post and 7 views. It's really
Right,
sad.
and,
Yeah.
and, and our like is
And that's really
Monica.
impressive as well.
Is it? Yeah.
What about articles has anything been written in the Daily A about this process yet? Katie Frankowitz seems to jump on these kinds of things.
No, when we advertised for members, there was an article, but that was it. And
She's
then-
going to be at the meeting on the 28th because of that nice article she wrote about estuaries and mapping and stuff that was on the front page a couple days ago. I invited her to go do that. Maybe I'll talk to her then and see if she wants to do a little expose on the community planning process.
Okay. Wait, is she going on maternity leave soon?
Is she?
Oh, yeah, really soon.
Oh, she's okay. Well, never mind then.
3.5 weeks.
Oh,
That's soon.
oh, haven't seen her for a long time.
Probably not soon enough for her.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
that's
the last time I saw her
fine.
was about 9 months ago, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary then.
Right.
So,
That makes sense.
Or even 4 months ago.
yeah.
Well, did you want to
Yeah,
look
but it
at
should be front page news.
these critters?
It should be.
Do you want to kind of just review them and see, I mean, how do you think we're doing?
Where's the thing?
It's the last
Oh, it's,
page on,
okay.
you're looking at it.
Okay, I'm already looking at it. Got it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that the Southwest Coastal Planning Area had a CAC.
They did for a number of years. The Southwest Coastal CAC, when the comprehensive plan, I think we've talked about this before, but when the comprehensive plan was first being devised back in the 70s, they had divided the areas up so that they tried to kind of group or put together areas that had things in common. So this is how this community ended up this way. The Southwest Coastal Planning Area, each had its own community, had its own citizen involvement committee, and they were ad hoc. And so at the end of the comprehensive plan element, after they had made their recommendations, it had gone to the planning commission and it went to the board, those CACs dissolved because it was an ad hoc committee and their job was done. The Southwest Coastal Citizens Advisory Committee decided they didn't want to dissolve, so they continued on, and they kind of morphed. And as they morphed, they became a design review committee, and their scope narrowed and focused in basically on design review in Arch Cape, which is north of the tunnel up through Carnahan and Buena Vista, and that's it, Arch Cape proper. Whereas the Southwest Coastal Planning Area starts at the city limits, the southern city limits of Cannon Beach, and goes all the way south to the county line, and it goes up into the hills and includes that F80 forestry zoning up in the hills. That's the whole Southwest Coastal Planning Area. Anyway, the Arch Cape group kind of morphed into this other thing, and anyway, they ended up being eliminated about 2 or 3 years ago because they'd gone beyond.
It went rogue.
They went rogue.
Anyway, the board found that their use was not what they used to be or whatever. Anyway, the board eliminated the committee, but now they have a charge just like this committee does. So we do have a committee back again down there. If that makes sense.
Okay.
And I think someone from their group recommended at the all groups meeting last week. He had a lot to say and was listing out possible something that had to do with even like elected positions, like as if and I almost understood what he was saying and thinking like these committees should be elected, and I was like, nobody has time for a campaign. We're already
Was this Dice?
volunteers.
Yeah, no, Todd Lundy.
Get out of here, man.
Lundy, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I don't want other people to be involved in choosing leadership, that's important, but it just felt like
It's already hard enough getting.
Yeah, we can get people for fire districts or,
You're just gonna get special interest. in-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
But that
They're
serves
the
their
only
interest.
ones that
Right,
can
that-
care.
Right.
exactly.
Don't do it. Like volunteers are.
Hope someone stalled. He's eating goulash.
Sorry. Okay, do we want to go through this goals and policies, this policy review here and sort of check off some of these things?
And kind of look at it in terms of like strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this first one, provide widespread citizen involvement. I'd just say the term widespread is really just kind of, that's just going to set you up right there. That sounds great. The goal hasn't been met, but should we retain the goal? Absolutely. That's my opinion. Does anybody have any thoughts on whether there's widespread citizen involvement?
Are we answering our questions in regards to our subsection, not to our perception of the whole countywide?
Well, I think your perception based on your area, yes, but if you have observations countywide, that absolutely is
Okay.
welcome.
Okay. I mean, I don't really, I feel like just, yeah, I think I just hear so many people that are like too busy. I mean, and we're all too busy and we're all making the time
Sure.
to be here, but
Widespread, yeah, like you say, what is widespread? I mean, how are you gonna get people here? That was our first conversation. I mean, you just gotta get people, all you can do is get the information out there, and how are you gonna actually get them to show up and be involved?
right,
Good luck.
right.
You know, unless somebody's got a beef or a bitch, and they're just gonna come in and be me. Bitch about everything.
Right? Maybe in an offhand way, maybe everything is going so well that no one's complaining.
Really?
Yeah, that could be.
I'm sure of that.
Is that how it feels for you?
Yes.
People don't usually show up unless they want to complain, Jim's
Right.
right. So,
True.
Do you think that we should modify the goal language, like to any citizen involvement, or something just a little bit more?
One citizen at
Like
every
take it down a
meeting.
notch.
Yeah, like let's not widespread.
moon.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any widespread anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to have a goal of widespread citizen
Yeah, I mean,
involvement
it's
is
great.
good, as long as we're not gonna get like docked points at the end if we don't meet the goal.
Yeah, well, that's the question. Do we want to
It's
meet?
aspirational.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Do we want to meet the goal, or do we just want to have a lot of nice things to say about stuff?
Right.
Well, so this is the goal, so then we have these policies underneath that maybe are what, or we're gearing toward that help us try to meet them, and are there some things we should do differently or better, or are some things like useless and we should just not even worry about that because
Yep.
technology has changed? No, not all of that, stop that. But, I think I mentioned this in Jewel the other day. When I first started working for the planning department, we sent out paper notices. That's what we had. We didn't have electronic stuff like we do now. We didn't have, we were pulling notice information for the buffers, the mailing lists from the assessment department, but we weren't doing it on our own computers. We were like having to go get the information from the assessor's office, and they would print it out on labels for us.
Wow.
And and then we were mailing it. We had photocopiers. We did have photocopiers. It wasn't that long ago, but it wasn't a color photocopier, so the maps weren't so pretty. So anyway, we were sending things out. We were just getting into email, and we didn't have all these email addresses, so we were doing an awful lot of this by hand. It was all paper. So since I have been in that department in the last, since 2002, we've gotten to the point where we've got a county website with all this information on it that a lot of people don't even know is there. We're pulling the buffers ourselves, and we are producing all of this paper, and we're putting a lot of it on the web, and we are emailing people. And if somebody provides us with an email and says, I want to be on the mailing list for the Citizen Advisory Committee, we put them on there, and then they get all those mailings.
All your emails you get and all your applications and stuff, are those kept anywhere, or are those just randomly in your files?
All those emails you get, what do you mean?
Like every time you apply for any type of a conditional use or anything else, you put down your email address.
We do,
You see
I mean,
what I'm
it's all
saying?
going to be in the files. It's in the,
But I mean, is it documented anywhere in something simple that, obviously people that are going to be interested in something like this is going to be people that have gone through the arduous task of you telling us no on everything. And they're going to, and they've presented their email, if you had emails of people that have applied and have used you, you would think that they would want to come and be a part of at least parts of it.
so you,
See what I'm saying?
Jim, am I hearing you say, you're suggesting that we harvest the
Yes.
emails out of the
Yes.
applications that come
I don't even know if that's
in?
legal, but
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, but
I don't either. It's all public record.
it is all public record. So we
So-
harvest the emails, and then they become part of this broader list that we just sort of like blast periodically.
correct.
I think that's a great idea.
Correct,
Long as
because
it's legal.
they're the people who've lived the dream. They're the people who are going to want to have input. Probably, and I'm sure not all negative. They're just going to tell you their frustrations and everything else.
But if they've provided public comment on an application, for example, Jim just went through a conditional use permit application and he ended up with like 4 positive, supportive comments so we
Wait,
could.
didn't we say no to that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You tried as hard as you could. Trust me. You had 18 layers, so I would get frustrated and quit.
We fed you chocolate.
How many layers does it take?
One. One. If I can't have anything else, let's cut it to 1.
So, but from that, we could have harvested like yours and Will's and the 4 people who
Right.
provided comment, and
Right.
so just sort of like creating a.
And maybe, you know, on that, the main
Brothers
question
watching.
was, you don't keep record of it. It doesn't automatically go into a database anywhere, but.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
no, but we have those
So
records.
like I say, working forward, when people do it, maybe you can put them on a list and send out little blurbs.
I did that actually with Seaside Rural. I took Jim Hall and the people who were against Ginger Edwards project and had concerns. And so I put them on a mailing list for the CAC. They didn't ask, but I stuck them on there anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea if it's legal. We
Yeah,
just-
well,
we
it's
don't
public
think it's
record.
Public record, and you provided it, so.
You
yeah.
give us
I'm not
your
selling
email
it to
address.
anybody.
No, you're not.
And they can opt out or unsubscribe or whatever, like have that at the bottom so if they're annoyed.
I'll have to
they
figure
can-
out how to do that. That's actually.
MailChimp.
MailChimp can do it for you.
How about the individuals that don't go through the process and they go ahead and use their property for a conditional use that it's not allowed?
That is an ongoing problem
Yes, yes, it
in
is.
any county,
Yeah.
and
In any county, yeah.
it's gonna happen, and that's what code
All right,
enforcement is for.
I'm going to jump in and position our attack here on this thing here. Great topics, though, but maybe we should try to get through some of these. So this here, number 1 and 2 and 3 clearly talk about the Planning Commission. I'm a member of the Planning Commission. I feel like I'm involved to a certain extent, only to that extent which the planners want me to be involved. They're only going to tell me about things that come before them. This interesting thing about 4 down here, number 4, technical information to assure that technical information is available. This policy 3, active citizen advisory committees may submit their comments to the Clatsop County Department of Planning and Development and the Planning Commission. I don't feel like I've ever seen anything like that, per se, come through the Planning Commission. I don't feel like I'm involved in citizens advisory committees or anything. They don't come speak before us.
Well, because
We don't get invited to any
until
meetings.
A few months ago, we didn't have any for a long time.
Oh, and that's because of the Arch Cape, or Southwest is the latest one. Okay.
Right, so you probably did see things from the Southwest. Most everything in Arch Cape was required design review, so you probably saw things that were conditional uses. It was still coming through staff, though.
That was before, that was before they were
dissolved, right.
dissolved, yeah.
Right.
For sure that, I remember that process.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, but that seemed like not legal at the time, so. But we're hoping that this group, this CAC, maybe we could build one here in the Olney area, right? And we could then use that to provide comments to the Planning Commission and the county planners. I think that's a good goal. I mean, I think.
Using policy 4.
Yeah, policy 3 and 4, active citizen advisory committees. Has the goal been met? Maybe for Southwest, but not for here.
Right.
And should we retain that goal? I think that's important. I think we need to really address that right now. I mean, we're here. We're making decisions. Do we want to have a formal committee, a CAC here that represents this area? Is it necessary? And do we want to keep that?
Like after this review process is over, you mean?
No, like while it's going on.
Because isn't that what we are?
Yeah, you are.
We are that, but to some extent, well then if everybody's got one, Well, why does it say up here only the Southwest Coastal Planning Area still retains an active Citizens Advisory Committee?
That's the old text.
Yeah.
That's
Part
old
of why we
text.
need to update those.
Right, we're dealing with old material. We need to update it. So at this point, the Southwest Coastal Planning Area does have a CAC, just like this one.
Okay, and they all
But-
do.
Now we all do.
Right, so
Okay.
right at the moment, everybody does. Yeah, so you're suggesting retaining some form of the CAC after?
Yeah, I think so. If it seems reasonable, as long as we don't, if we have more, well, of course, good luck, but
Well, I mean, the problem is, that it's like happened down there. This morphs into a homeowners association where everybody's trying to push certain agendas. To
Well,
meet
you
their
don't
needs
want
and
that to
everything
happen.
else. And that's what you don't want. And every time you seem to have these citizens advisory committees, they kind of morph into those. And I don't, I'm just, like I say, I've had subdivisions where we formed homeowners associations, and the minute we hand them over to them, they just become a convoluted argument about everything. I mean, we just did it at Polo Ridge, and the first meeting almost had a fist fight in it. I mean, that's where I have problems with all these committees and everything else. That are, I don't know if you're understanding what I'm saying.
I do. I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, groups of people that don't have any structure that meet with an undefined agenda, things go south fast.
And she can testify on that, the committee they had down there, they were taking over the county.
Oh, the Southwest, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I mean, they were making their own land use plans.
Whoa.
I mean, it was bad.
Well, they had some ideas. You had a small group of people who had some strong ideas about how they wanted to shape their community, and they didn't have a mechanism so that they had true community involvement because there were other people in the community who didn't feel they had a voice. And so it was difficult. It was difficult.
Was there a calendar? I'm not trying to overwrite or change the subject, but my brain just thought of it. Is there a calendar in print or online, like on the city website, there's a calendar that shows every single day of the month and all the different meetings and planning? Do
Yep.
we have that, including the CAC meetings, are on that calendar online? I should look at that, because I feel like I'm just even looking at policy 2, I don't even feel like other than you actually do a great job of emailing out stuff, but I can't even remember when each group is meeting, because there's so many meetings happening every week.
We
I'm like, should
are
have to go
having
that
a
one?
similar problem.
I'm trying to just make sure
So
everyone,
Clancy remind you.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Clancy called him right before this to remind him to come.
Almost nobody comes to the planning commission
Better
meetings.
No.
We
No,
started
but
getting
I
a
don't know when
reporter
they are.
2 times ago, and that was very exciting to know that somebody on their own would show up and want to
So
listen.
you weren't on it in the L&G days?
Nope,
No.
Oh, yeah, well, they were.
I wasn't in
they were
Clatsop County then.
right?
Yeah, we
there.
filled.
They were lined up outside.
Yeah, once again, if you have a really hot button issue,
Again.
then
Yeah.
you can fill an auditorium, and we filled for public comment
Yes.
2 days in a row, 12-hour days, the Astoria High School auditorium.
The planning commission did?
Yes,
It was quite the,
it was
Over the
extraordinary.
LNG
Were
stuff.
you on the commission at that time?
no.
No,
When
he
are the
would.
planning
I
commission
was,
meetings?
I was very
Tuesdays,
interested.
second Tuesdays
Second Tuesday of the month at 10 a.m.
at the Guy Boynton building.
Well, that's why nobody's going. 10 a.m.
Well, we had this one at 5.
Government likes having it in a day.
I know, but no one can go. I mean, people have jobs.
No
That's
one-
why
no
you
one
only
wants to
have,
go
like,
in the afternoon
rich,
either.
Retired people
That
involved because
involved.
they don't have to go to work that day. And
Well,
that's-
thanks. I don't know that I meet that.
Well, no, I mean, I don't meet that either, but I mean, we're here
I
at
meet
5.
that. I'm totally rich and retired.
No, but who's showing up to the planning commission?
You're just tired.
I'm tired, yes. But I mean, I feel like I see that with a lot of meetings that happen during
And
any time of day. There's going
but
to be
the
someone.
problem is, if you've been to many county commission meetings in the evenings, by the time they're done, it's past a guy like mine's bedtime, 9 o'clock.
The last city council meeting went till 11 p.m.
But nobody even shows up much at the commission meetings.
Right.
There's a few that'll
Unless-
come and speak under public participation.
Again, unless it's something that involves them, that they're, and like I say, back to the email thing, if they have the opportunity to know about it, maybe one will trickle in once in a while.
How do we keep community activism or citizen advisory committees? How do we honestly keep them going? I mean, you made a point about homeowners association and just chaos, right? How do you build community involvement so that it's structured, so that that people can check some of their passion at the door? I don't know if people are trained to do that anymore, but civility and that kind of thing is
That's the $1 million
maybe a
question.
premium.
How do you, if you build it, they won't come, so, you know.
But do you think that we should be doing it though? Let's
I
just philosophically
do.
throw it out there.
I believe, in fact, when we started this, I tried to get a whole bunch of people to be on committees in other places. Only one I got was one that was a former commissioner, and I don't even know if he ever did it. But it's a tough nut. It's because unless it's a compassionate hot point like the LNG thing was, or like I say, if there's something out there that frosts somebody, they might come to say, why do we have this way? But to get people to come on a regular basis, I guess if you had a rock band or something, they might show up.
Free booze.
Yeah, free booze, yeah. Party every night. Get nothing done. But like I say, it's like any community related anything. It's a tough one.
There's got to be a solution, right? I mean, it can't just be rock
People
bands
to
and
care.
booze, you know?
People, yeah, well. Okay.
Well, that's why I guess like kind of the why planning matters is like the why you should care.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
you
us
know,
educating them why you
honestly,
should
the young
care.
involvement, it's like anything else. Teaching young people to have some kind of interest in it, but it's mainly a nerd thing, so good luck. I mean,
What?
Planning is,
What?
It's a nerd thing. That's what he said. You heard him.
Watch it.
planning
What? As opposed to what? Rocket science or wetlands biology or
This is what I mean.
nursing?
Planning is reading and writing down plans and doing those kind of things. And I'm talking about young people. Well, I'm talking about anybody actually, but young people. Usually, it's like, all right, more homework, not doing it. That's what I mean. You're going to get certain types of people that'll do it, but the general.
Oh yeah, sure. No, I
mean,
get that.
I mean, I didn't mean to insult anybody. It was just a.
No, it was just
We're very
Nerdy as the
self-aware.
rest of us.
we're all.
Well, it's just because I'm always mad.
I'm deeply insulted, but I get over it quickly. So
That's
that's for sure.
I rather suspected that the global warming issue would get people here.
I've had people ask
But what
about.
it's done, you've got groups like this Timber Unity group, and that's not bad for people to get involved with.
But again, that's passionate.
That's
I'm pissed
passionate,
off.
yeah.
You're affecting my livelihood, and I guess if more people were developers and homeowners is something that, or rural homeowners mostly, that want to do things other than just cut their yard and do everything else, we'd have a lot more people involved. It's a rare opportunity where, most people live in the cities and stuff like that, and they've got their yard and everything else, and it doesn't, but, somebody that's got acreage or something else, and they want to build a shed or do something, and these guys tell you have to have this or have to have that and everything else, that's when people get interested in it.
What would the cost be to do one mail out to everyone in like the rural county with a postcard that has the whole calendar, or some sort of breakdown of whatever ours is, fourth Thursday of the month,
think it-
this one meets. Or some way to make it, just so that they have a thing they can put on their fridge that gives them like but it's not something you have to mail out every month to remind people, but just to get every single, so at least we can say we tried.
You're,
Yeah,
know?
we did probably a half-page postcard mailing a year ago for the FEMA map changes, and we sent it to everybody who was just in a flood zone, so it wasn't everybody in the county, and I think that mailing was around 2,000.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
and that got some involvement, but
It
that
did.
wasn't, again, a passionate
Because
thing
people
where
were
everybody was
pissed off.
pissed off.
Right.
Or frightened.
Right,
right.
so people will just show up for the disaster.
Right, the
Section.
things that they think are
Well,
gonna
you-
affect their pocketbook.
You're talking about motivation.
Right.
What
exactly,
motivates somebody to show up?
Exactly.
Money or fear or getting angry? And often that goes back to your pocketbook
Yeah, or hatred of others.
or hatred of others.
Homeowners Association.
Or homeowners.
Are we
Hatred of
noticing-
homeowners associations?
Yeah, that's what it
That's gonna
stands
get
for.
everyone to
Hatred
show
of
up.
others, or
Hatred of
But it is, how do you get somebody motivated?
what about groups, bigger groups like the Chinook Nation or like the Land Conservancy, groups that maybe are invested in caring about what happens to the land? Are we contacting them?
Yes.
Cool.
And we had a representative from the Chinook Nation address the Clatsop Plains group at their last meeting, but they now are on our mailing list.
Okay, good.
Regular mailing list. And then Ian is working on a letter to we have a whole stakeholder list that we want to reach out to, and it includes Conservancy and the school districts and anybody we could think of. So
You're on it.
if you have a knitting group, seriously, if you're a member of a knitting group or a bridge club or, give me contact info.
You play bridge?
Knitting group.
No.
Oh, you do knitting?
I doubt it, but. Do you play bridge?
He knits.
The Bulldozer Association of America.
Texas Hold'em.
There you go.
There we go. A poker club, whatever.
Yeah.
But still, back to the same thing, if you took, just forward, you take the emails off every application for every conditional use or permit that you get, and you send something out from there. At least it's somebody that's lived the dream, so maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. I don't know. Anyway.
No, I like it.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea.
I do too.
The million-dollar question to anything is how do you get people to do anything? And if you figured that one out, you'd be a marketing billionaire.
This will make you look
Letters to the
younger,
editor?
feel younger.
Yeah.
Anybody in one of these groups that would maybe put something together and suggest that people get involved?
Well,
If you have these
I was hoping that we could get someone from the Daily A. Who's been showing up at our planning commission meetings?
God, what's her name?
Twice in a row?
Natalie Bowles?
Yeah.
Bales, Natalie Bales.
Yeah, she wanted to come to the 28th meeting too. She thought that was interesting. She actually reached out and asked for information. Maybe she's our voice. She's gonna write about this process.
It would be cool to have a running feature in the Daily A,
I think
a
so.
little update.
It would be nice to have an update of Citizens Advisory Committee comments. It's a lot of work to track it, but
We can be on page 5, that's fine.
yeah, but just getting it in
But
there.
we've been trying
regularly.
we do a weekly press release that gives out a summary of everything that's gone on that week with all the advisory committees, what their basic discussion was. We've been doing a monthly newsletter that kind of sums up all these meetings every month.
I've seen those.
And so they go out as well. So the meeting summaries are all there. So the material's all there. All they have to do is go to the website and pull it and say, okay, and then call us up and say, hey, I have a question.
Has she written anything about what she's seen at the planning meetings?
I have not seen anything.
I haven't
Well,
either.
she wrote about, did she write about?
She
wrote
did
about
not. That wasn't her though. Wasn't that Edward
Yeah,
Stratton?
somebody wrote several articles about TP Freight.
Right, that I thought was Mr. Stratton though.
I
But there was an
didn't
article.
read them, I don't read them.
There was an article just last week about the approval of Mr. Nikas's conditional use permit.
Maybe that was written by her?
It was written by somebody. I thought it was Edward Stratton though.
Okay.
But somebody had.
But Natalie was at the meeting.
She was the one at the meeting, correct.
Natalie Bowles?
I think it's Bales, B-A-L-E-S.
Okay. She could be our biggest fan, our only fan at this point, but. Okay. All right, well, maybe we should,
Well, I'll reach out to
I
her.
would strongly suggest that that would be a good feature idea.
Running
I don't-
feature.
Okay. I'll get in touch with her.
or maybe we like Portlandia the whole thing, where it just becomes this goofy sort of process, and then, like Parks and Rec, and just like a mixture between the two, and somehow that becomes interesting, because maybe people want to see that.
Oh, we need it to be a reality show.
Reality show. I
Look,
think we could pitch that, but I don't think it would have enough action.
there's just not enough drama yet.
Our raccoons
each
aren't
other.
exciting enough. Our elk are pretty exciting.
Right?
There's a lot of drama there.
Okay.
Get some
Maybe
night-
that's
night
not such a
vision
good idea.
footage.
Say, I liked in the thing that you sent out, how can we reach out? What was there? Oh, is there a particular organization, group, or stakeholder that each member is willing to personally reach out to during the process? I like the idea of that, and I was just making a list to myself of like 5 households that I know that are own property in this area that I've emailed them once or twice during the process, but if I just remember, like, every time that I get the email in from you, if I just remember to go ahead and share with them and say, hey, here's our next meeting, here's the next whatever, just to try to, sometimes people, I mean, if she calls me and tells me about a thing, I'll more likely to go to it than if I just see it on Facebook, because it's like, now I'm a little bit accountable, Maybe if we all say we'll try to get 5 people, maybe none of them will show up, but directly invite
Maybe
them, not
they'll
like
tell someone who'll
passively
show
invite
up.
them, but actively be like, hey, I think you might want to come to this.
Maybe a meet the planners kind of thing, right? So that if you have a friend who's a planner and they're just around enough, maybe they'll just sort of rub off on you. Maybe that's part of what it is. Or you guys are friends.
What about
Yeah.
a dunk tank for planners?
Oh, you probably
There
get
you go.
all of his money.
Oh, so
all
I
of
see.
his money.
I see.
$100 for
We
each
can
one.
fund the department
Right there.
I've been looking at it the wrong way. No, that's a different approach.
Take them to
Right.
the t-shirts.
A dunk tank for the planners and the
I would do a
commissioners.
pie eating contest. But
Well, we each have our own specialties.
there we go.
So,
You could get $250,000 off him in an evening.
I know. That'll fund another planner.
I know.
When we can
You'd
dedicate.
get a rotator cuff injury almost immediately.
That's why I said, I told her, get one of those guns that, like, they shoot the t-shirts at the,
The t-shirt cannon.
for policy 6, encouraging organizations, local, state, federal government, I imagine you already do that, like, make whoever else, city council and state governments and people aware that we're doing this and the meetings are open to the public. So I will say yes, the goal is met.
Also, when we send public notices out for projects, we also notify who we consider to be stakeholders. And sometimes our comprehensive plan or our zoning ordinance actually tell us, if this type of an application comes in, thou shalt notify ODFW or ODOT, or I send a lot of email to ODOT, frankly, or the Corps of Engineers or DSL.
Right.
So, I mean, we actually have direction as to, and sometimes we just look at it and go, this agency should get this reviewed.
Right.
So we do notify stakeholders
Yeah.
to the best extent we can, and we actually have direction on who to notify some of the time.
And then, if we wanted to make the mailing radius bigger than the 150 feet, is there a process for making that
Yeah, so,
formally a thing?
yeah, it would be a change to our code, our
Okay.
zoning code, and that's easy enough to do.
Okay.
And other groups have discussed that as well, so.
Okay. What do we do to,
I
what's the
think
next step of that?
we
Just
should-
everyone agree that we want to?
we probably need to figure out how big of a radius that we would want. I know some groups have said a mile. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think, it's interesting because even it's like if something is being proposed at Miles Crossing, then even someone that lives 5 miles up Lewis and Clark Road might be affected because of the traffic at that intersection.
and
so-
they had that issue with Kruger's thing.
Right.
Where a lot of people weren't informed and they felt left out.
Right, but how do you know that how
Right.
far is far enough?
Well, now they put the signs, so, you know,
Right, that came along with the ordinance from just a couple of years ago. We now ask the property owner to post for type 2 and up, if it's going to have a public hearing,
Okay.
actually
your sign
post a
back.
sign that says this property is subject of a public hearing, and it has contact information for our department, so that
Okay.
people can call,
I've
and they'll
seen
see they'll see this property is posted. So the theory is that,
They
the
will.
hope is that if you drive past it enough and you realize this is part of your area, your sphere of your life,
Right.
then if you're interested in it, you'll call us, because we'll tell you.
Right. Cool. I mean, it seems like,
But a public notice going farther is not, I mean, we can do that.
That's easy.
Right.
Yeah,
oh,
especially if we harvest mailing lists.
right, harvest.
Harvest.
You
Yeah.
like harvest?
Speaking of aliens,
sounds really sinister.
it does.
Harvesting emails.
It seems like as far as the county staff doing all that they can to create citizen involvement, I would say, yes, you're doing everything you can to try to get that to happen within your power, and it's just a matter of people, like, not showing up.
What a
Right?
thankless
I mean-
task. You guys are just really going at it.
It isn't thankless, though.
Not at all.
I mean,
No.
we're here.
Yes, you are here, and you're all providing input and help, and that is great. I mean, if nobody had come, then yes, I'd be upset, but you all came,
Really.
and you brought food.
Right, the food was a
Yay.
good one.
Yeah,
But-
that's good. I hope we can keep doing that if people don't mind.
I like it.
But it isn't a thankless job at all, because at the end of this, I mean, you do have to be in it for the long haul, and you do have to be okay with delayed gratification.
Yes.
And fortunately, that's my strong suit, apparently.
All women have that.
Apparently. Anyway. Anyway,
Couldn't do enough of this at home.
I have.
the kitchen's not done yet. But anyway, yeah, if you look at it that way and you see the end result and it's worth it, oh my gosh, there's nothing thankless about it. You have the opportunity to do something that's worthwhile. That is a reward in itself. That's how I talked you into it.
Right?
Making a face over there.
Yeah, never mind, I won't say it.
So this, jumping up to policy 9 on the second page of your citizen involvement matrix here, I was listening to some of the comments from the Southwest CAC, and they were talking about how they don't get notified if someone files a application for some kind of a building permit or something like that. Is this where you're going to go? Is this as far as you're going to go as far as public notices for people's interest in doing their own projects? I mean, it sounds like a lot of stuff.
Well, so public notices are sent for anything that's a type 2 application, and that's anything that's not ministerial or
Right.
administrative.
Right.
So if it's something that's a type 1, let's say it's in an RA1 zone and it's for a single-family residence, that doesn't receive a public notice. If it's something for a commercial use in a commercial zone, that's going to get a public notice if it's a zone change. If it's a similar use authorization or anything like that, if it's a subdivision, anything like that is going to receive a public notice. But the type 1 stuff where you're doing a garden shed that's accessory to your structure, we have not been doing, that's type 1, it's administrative and it doesn't require a public notice. So what it had been with the Southwest Coastal Citizens Advisory before was everything was sort of elevated to a type 2. So they received notice of, and their radius was 250 feet. So everybody within 250 feet received notice of a public meeting that was the Southwest Citizens Coastal Advisory Committee, where they would review whether somebody was putting up a garden shed even.
Jesus, get a job. What do
But they
do
want
have
that to
time
come
for
back
this?
again, though.
Well, we are hearing some voices that say that, but
Yes.
I'm going to tell you the honest to goodness truth. There are people in that community who do not want to see that, and they also don't want to say it out loud for some reason. I'll let you ponder why somebody might not want to. But there are people who have talked to me on the phone who have said, don't tell me.
It was a nasty little thing when they had their, before you dissolved their little deal that they had. I mean,
There is
there
not
were-
as much consensus in that community as some elements of it think. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's true.
But, yeah, that's going to be an interesting task. Okay, I just wanted to, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of the Southwest group, but I just wanted to just clarify, because I remember hearing them voicing their concerns about that. I don't hear other people around here wanting to know every time someone wants to build a garden shed. It doesn't seem to be the same kind of, maybe it's because it's more rural here, and I think people are a little further apart, and they just don't have the same kind of issues.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to jump to that one because that came to my mind.
Well, and so I will say that in the rural communities that have sanitary districts, such as Arch Cape, Miles Crossing, Jeffers Garden, also out in Westport, we have 7,500 square foot minimum lot sizes. And that does pack people together. They are closer to each other. You get out in the RA1, RA2, RA5 zones, and people have a couple of acres. But people in the rural communities, so that includes Miles Crossing and Jeffers Garden. I don't know that we have that kind of interest in Miles Crossing and Jeffers Garden about everybody being aware of everybody else's garden shed. Honestly, the only community I've ever heard that from is Arch Cape. So,
And specific people in that community. Maybe not everybody.
definitely not everybody.
Okay.
But yeah, I would definitely say that the proximity of people right next to each other definitely makes a difference. But not in every community, even those like Miles Crossing and Jeffers Garden where people are quite close to each other.
Does anybody have any thoughts on, we talked quite a bit actually on policy 7. Any further thoughts on that? And then we can maybe talk about policy 8. I think that,
I think 7 and 9 kind of go together as far as that expanding the mailing radius idea.
Yes.
But other than that, I think you're good,
okay,
right?
okay. What do we want to do? Are we going to have some kind of tally of these documents here?
Well,
Is that what you'd like?
I really thought the worksheets were a great idea. Most of the committees have been hit and miss. Most of them haven't completed them. I've gotten 2 back to myself. I don't know if you've gotten any back.
They're good talking points,
It was
though.
good to
I
take
think that
notes.
they're good to.
Organize your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think these are good for me personally,
Okay.
and please make them for this group
Okay.
at the very least. It's just you don't have to print out copies for everyone, but I like them. I think they're helpful. They're helpful to keep us on track.
Don't feel bad if you don't see them back, because it's
Okay.
still obviously a communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will
Guys like
tell
them,
you,
don't like them, see.
Well, you
for
like
goals
lists.
2 and 3, there are really no policies in there to evaluate in either of those goals, so you won't see them for goals 2 and 3.
Okay.
Just because there's nothing to put in there.
All right. What here on the agenda, I'm looking through some of these bullet points here. We've sort of talked about a lot of these already, which is kind of nice that they sort of dovetail with these this matrix here. Is there anything that we may have missed here, members of the CAC? Anything any stones unturned?
Not that I can think of. I feel like everyone brainstormed and contributed
Yeah.
Goal 1, I think.
for goal 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Good for goal 1? Okay.
I loved the getting teachers involved idea. That's a really good one.
You think?
Yeah, use the children to get to the parents.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
what Lewis and Clark Elementary School and Jewel, and what else is there out in our
Napa.
area? Napa.
Oh, well, yeah, in your area.
But all of them, yeah, do it for all of them, that's smart.
I was going to mention that as you go along and we go through these other goals, you're going to end up building on what you've already done. So there's a certain element of recursiveness to this, and it's going to be very natural to go back and say, hey, we didn't think of that, we want to add that. Or this is going to conflict with that, so we need to look at this again. If we get into like goal 4 and goal 5 or something like that, and you look at it and go, well, the forestry goal is this, but goal 5 says that, or over here with the wetlands. So there's going to be this recursiveness. So if something, don't feel like you're done with goal 1. It's like we're going to put it to bed now for now, but you can certainly return to it if anything comes up.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Open-ended process.
Yes.
All right. So let's call this little discussion session to an end here. And how are we doing on time?
Oh, it's
6:23.
yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, right on money.
I have other stuff for you too.
Oh,
Well, you do your public comment and input.
do you want to do public comment and input, and then we can go to?
I'll give you stuff.
Okay. Do you want to slip in a comment before that? Is there anybody from the general public who has any comments?
I think I've tried to be involved in the discussion
Okay.
anyway, so.
All right. Okay. Would you like to say something?
No, other than thank you all, because we got a couple of really good ideas out of here that haven't come out of any of the other committees at this point, so I think that's pretty awesome. Not that it's a competition, but...
It kind of is.
2 gold stars today.
We have to gamify this. That's what I was getting at. That's the whole point of.
Put a chart up in
That's the whole point.
In
Yeah.
the back.
Yeah.
We should get little T-shirts, to just sort of wander around, say we're winning. Who are you?
Subtle.
Lcac.
We're Lcac. We won.
Yeah, Lcac. Yeah, that's right. We are Lcac.
We are Lcac. We win.
All
But,
right.
yeah, so my comment is just thank you all very much. We got a couple
Of
good
course.
things out of here that I am really pleased about.
Okay. Do we want to go through this very imposing stack of?
Stuff?
I mean, those are some binder clips, man.
Well,
I tell you what.
I think I have a question.
Industrial. You do.
In regards to materials being handed out, because I didn't want to ask in front of the bigger group, because I didn't want to ask a stupid question, because I have the binder for the combined thing, and then I have my binder, and then I wasn't sure, is all the material that,
It's the same.
it's the same,
Yeah.
so I just have 2 binders of the same stuff.
Yeah, the combined group does have all the community plans for all the planning
Okay.
areas, whereas you just have your
But I only
specific
really need to carry this one around.
Yeah.
Behind your
Okay.
meeting 3.
Sorry, that was,
Thank you.
No, just, I'll
yeah.
So this is your stuff for the next meeting. You're getting it a month ahead of time. So in here,
This is Orange Tab 3.
this is Orange Tab 3, indeed. So, yeah,
But you have yours behind Orange Tab 2.
no,
This
this
is
is,
goal 2.
It's goal
Goal
2,
two.
tab 2.
it's goal 2 is Tab
Tab 2.
3.
That's you.
I'm confused. You've got.
Oh, it's meeting. I'm getting the meeting
I've done
mixed up.
29 of these.
You've done, yes, okay, what I'm doing is, because meeting 3 is goal 2, but tab 2 is goal 2. Yes, it's goal 2. I'm sorry.
So am I putting it after the brown tab 2?
After tab
Between
2.
tabs 2 and 3.
There
put
you
the
go. That's the
flip to
language that
material.
I'm
Thank you.
looking for.
Yes,
All of
yes.
it?
That
Yep,
is some
it all goes
spatial
there.
sort of cognition right
Yes.
there that I'm into. That's how I want it.
And then this map you can just load into the front of your binder or wherever, and then you can take it home and put it up on the wall.
It's not going to work. How did you get it all through? I want to do that.
I love my
Pure will and strength.
You went through the
I forgot we were being recorded, and I apologize for the curse words I said earlier.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Curse words are
If
part of
the
life.
planning is cursing, yes.
We're citizens.
Yeah, you guys wait.
Planning is cursing. Oh, now this is lovely. Look at you guys went through all this trouble.
Yes.
It's a lot of color ink.
For you guys,
Blow on
It's
us.
simple slaughter. that
we do.
we
I know how
buy.
expensive.
To use, not to have it sit around and collect dust.
Right,
Yes.
so put this thing wherever it will be something that you can enjoy and use. And Jim, you can't throw darts at it. I'm sorry.
What about beer cans?
Beer cans, paintballs.
Oh, I like it. Very nice. Who's
So
the?
that's the comprehensive plan. It was done by Krista Hausneck, who is our GIS specialist with our IT department,
Yes.
and she is gifted.
Very nice.
They always said that about me, but that wasn't what they meant.
Stop.
Gifted?
Oh, Krista Hausneck.
Yeah. Krista Hausneck. She's a
Hausneck.
Hess.
Hausneck?
Yes.
Very cool. That is good. I love cartography.
So the materials do look scarier than they really are, because when you get into goal 2, you'll see that well over half of it is a bunch of lists of numbers and tax lots. We do expect you to memorize those by the end of the process, so there will be a quiz, but really the reading itself is not that onerous. So. And there's some population projections in there, and kind of just building on the groundwork that Lisa Phipps started out with on the Goal 2 workshop, for those of you who were able to attend that. Just is our county framework for the land use plan.
Was that? I couldn't make that Goal 2 workshop. Did anyone here go to that?
Did I go to that one?
I went to it.
Planning.
There's a PDF
Didn't have to.
of the slides
Yes.
that we can send to you,
Okay.
Is it online? I think it's
or
on.
is it posted online on our website?
I can't remember at this point.
Okay.
Are you getting people to show up to those?
It was a good turnout.
You went.
I did go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
did it help with today?
I think it'll help with
Yeah.
the next meeting
Yeah.
more so,
Oh, okay.
because I think
What is land use planning?
yeah, it was more
Right.
specific to the land use planning section.
I see.
But I think it will be helpful for this. I do feel like I spaced out a little bit during it.
No,
I don't know.
you'll never get that time back.
And then September 9th, we've got the workshop for goals 3 and 4, and that's pretty much an all-day event. It includes lunch, it's free, but I do need you to RSVP to me by
What day is
August
that?
30th.
What day is that?
September 9th, I think, is a Monday.
So what time is that at?
It's from 10 to 3.
It includes food.
If you have dietary restrictions, let me know. Yes, that's a Monday.
Monday.
There are flyers. I've emailed you the flyers.
I know you have.
Also, hands them out.
And where is that at?
That's Boynton.
I know you already said that.
All day long, huh?
It's 10 to 3. We'll do 2 hours in the morning on farmland, break for lunch, and then 2 hours in the afternoon for forest lands.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah, it's Tim Murphy.
And you're just going to go
the
through farm forest, all the
specialist.
farm forest code that we went through and redlined. And,
Well, no, he's going to be presenting
I'll make it.
much more information about how it works and the goals behind it.
Gluten-free, vegetarian,
Yeah,
And
that's it.
the whole why and how it all works.
You got it all. Barbarian food,
What are you
So
doing
need the
a,
Mongolian
Has
grill
that
with the fire pit, the roasted
big
lamb.
giant legs.
what, he
on
doesn't want the
board.
vegan meal?
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
not interested in the
Oh,
vegan
well, I'm
meal?
getting him gluten-free and a bucket
Oh.
of vegetables.
Okay.
you eat vegan food sometimes. Sure. Have you ever had
You
a
can do
You know-
one
you know the
meal.
only
Have you had a
time
salad?
The only time I eat vegan food is when somebody slips it to me.
Have you eaten an apple?
And
Have you eaten one of
90% the
these
time I
plum
can tell.
plum cots?
He brought the plum
Plum
cots.
cots vegan.
Oh, I get it.
It's vegan. 100%.
The kale's a lot better if you
You can
massage
go
it.
home and eat meat afterwards.
Oh, with olive oil
You
and
eat
a
vegan
little
food
bit
and you don't
of,
You
even
can
know
almost
it.
eat it.
Well, I get it. Yeah.
So, okay.
Spits it right out.
Sure, you mean you vegans eat our food.
Recycled?
Oh, well, yeah, we
I
use
eat
those all the
everybody's
time unless you
food.
have some use for it in your binder.
Oh,
The 28th, what's the meeting that's on the
got a
28th?
drawer full of them.
Okay.
The 28th. Oh,
That's his.
oh,
I don't have to go to
that's
that.
a no.
Okay.
That's a geek fest. If you've ever wondered.
You talk about nerds.
Kind of into
Talk
that.
about nerds,
I'm
man.
going to
This
that.
is super geeky.
What are you doing? What is it about?
They're talking about mapping and how the mapping datum is changing so that elevation as they're labeled, are going to change by 3 feet.
Okay,
So,
Again,
I'm good.
oh yeah, they're going to go right back where they were. That should make you happy.
are you freaking, I'm gonna go with a flamethrower.
You should go. We need you there.
He's not a nerd.
No, but he's going.
You can't.
Are
You can't stop us either. It's happening.
See, this is what gets people
Passion
out to a
and
meeting.
motivation.
Passion, anger, fear.
That's what I thought. I thought that this
living
would
the
be
dream.
the kind of thing that.
Living the dream.
Water on, water off, water on, water off.
We're going.
The FEMA faucet.
Yeah.
Is there an official from FEMA I could scream at?
Probably.
There, that'll come if we need to bring FEMA in to do a
When
dump
is it on
tank.
the
Reparations.
28.
It's the 28th between 3:30 and 6:30 at the Seaside Public Library.
Really?
Yeah, this the National Geodetic Survey
That's,
is
and
coming for
I
a
actually
presentation.
Kind of like that stuff too.
Oh no, you're gonna.
Weirdly enough.
No, this is up your alley.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever had to submit a flood elevation certificate and wondered why? Well, you're not going to get that answered here. But
Hey, which one of the,
That was a good hook.
which one of the three?
it will,
Courage,
elevations will change so that anybody who thinks that the top of the dikes in Warrenton are supposed to be at 15 feet, well, they're really only going to have to be at 12 feet.
That's what they
It just
were.
is going to mess with people's brains is all it does.
Well, at least it's going in the right
It's
direction.
like making people drive on the left side of the road.
At least it's going in the right
Pacific
direction. I don't
Plate
have to
is
put my
raising
house 85 feet in the air.
But it doesn't really have anything to do with that. It's just an arbitrary label based on they'll explain it at the meeting.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't want to
just-
ruin it for
Right.
anyone.
It's just where
No
they
spoilers.
perceive
Yeah, no, I just want to tease you a little bit.
Wasn't this,
it. It's just where they perceive it to be at the time.
What
So-
does mean lower low?
That is a good question.
That's one of the questions.
That
That is the question.
that won't be answered, but we will define what mean lower low is going to be.
He's got some good hooks. You see, there you are the guy that will get people to come with your little hooks.
Oh, I've got all
I
kinds
sent
of
you
weird
the
people
notice
showing
for
up.
The salesmanship here is astounding.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's what I do best.
I'm liking it.
if I'm reading through this and have dumb questions,
Give me a call.
should I call you?
Just call me.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are not any.
There are no dumb questions. It's
No,
true.
I ask Julia dumb questions all day long.
You do not ask dumb questions. I've talked her off a couple of ledges, but
Nice. Nice.
Okay, good.
I'd be all over the ledge if I worked in that office. I'd just be living, I'd be drinking coffee on the ledge every
On the
morning.
ledge.
As much as I'm on the ledge, just going in there 2 or 3 times a week.
2 or 3 times a week. Only 2 or 3 times a week? Okay.
Sometimes.
All right.
Sometimes,
Okay, so this is our reading material for next month's meeting.
yes.
Yes.
Call me if you have questions.
Yeah, but remember, most of it,
Is,
that's really, you probably don't even have to read that much. You are actually reading, like maybe from there to the beginning. This,
Looks
Okay.
like we're doing
Okay.
something.
this is all.
Oh, yeah, no,
about
it's
the
impressive
numbers and
looking.
stuff.
Perfect.
That's all the,
so basically
And
you've
I've
got,
already kind of looked over that one study. It's because isn't this
The population projection?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the interesting
yeah,
part.
because you kind of saw that at the last.
yeah. So this is what's going to be interesting is that we'll be doing this educational discussion about goals 3 and 4, but then our meeting after this is going to be goal 2. So we're like
Yeah.
learning about a thing,
Yeah.
and then going back to the goal before.
Yeah, you're going to
it.
go back and forth a little bit. It's just enough to bend your mind and, like fire up the synapses.
Yeah, but we're behind. That's why.
Are we
Yeah,
behind?
you're a month behind the other
Okay.
groups. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was so hard to get everybody to fill out their doodle poll. But
Even though he comes into the office 3 or 4 times a day and we
All
say,
you have to do is
Jim,
ask me. When I come in there 18 times a day, just say, hey,
yeah, but I
Just
don't
ask a
always
question.
see you because Jimmy's up front.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And you'll catch up, and the groups are going to start going at different paces, and I can already see it at the countywide one where they're going to start slowing down because they want to chew on stuff, and Southwest is going to go at a very different pace. So don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you. is this the same as this? Yes. So I can like hang this up somewhere in my house or whatever, and I
Yes.
can have this as a quick reference?
Absolutely.
Cool. I like maps.
I'm gonna use that instead of painting my living room wall.
Good
There you go.
idea.
Good.
The comp plan,
What's a big map too? What's your size, your format size?
48.
36 by 48,
You can go 48 wide or 36 wide?
48 wide.
Oh, look at you guys.
21st century and
I
everything.
know, I'm only 24.
Yeah.
I only got a 24-inch format.
Well,
I mean, it can go as long as I want. It can go a whole roll, but it's only 24-inch wide. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Closing comments, I think we've just had them. So on behalf of the Lcacs, at this lovely hour of 1838, I adjourn the meeting.
thank you.
Has there been,